How's everybody doing today? I'm your host, Richard Cross, and this is StorrsNation. StorrsNation is a show that talks all things sports. And today I have my two good friends, UCTV General Manager Ryan Panny and one of the best sports voices in UCTV sports, Jacob Sondik. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
Doing great, Richard. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good to
Pretty
be
good.
here.
I would be remiss not to start by talking about the Hall of Fame career of Drew Brees. 20 seasons in the NFL, 15 seasons in New Orleans, that totaled a 67% completion percentage, 571 touchdown passes, and over 8,000 career passing yards. Jacob, what are your thoughts on Drew Brees' star-studded career?
Yeah, I think the last couple of years kind of gonna leave a bad taste in his mouth, but it shouldn't overlook what he did for the game, what he did for the Saints. For years the Saints were a laughing stock. They were like the Browns before the Browns. They were the Aints, had the bags over their heads, and it was a mess. And then he came in from San Diego off that trade and kind of he transformed the franchise, won them a ring after Katrina. So yeah, uh, no one's done more for New Orleans than Drew Brees. So yeah, sad to see him go, but he didn't have it by the end of it. Too many injuries and just the results weren't there by the end.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on Drew Brees' great career?
I take it a step further. I think he obviously did a lot for the Saints in the NFL, but I also think he did a lot for small quarterbacks around like the whole entire league. Before him, if you were under 6 foot, people didn't take you seriously as a quarterback. And now we've seen Russell Wilson doing great things, Kyler Murray. Drew Brees has been one of those players that we won't forget. And I think you can keep him up there in the conversations with Brady and Manning, as one of the greatest of all time. And I don't know if we'll see a quarterback just like him anymore, like the guy who could barely see over the line of scrimmage, who was a pocket passer and just throw the ball like crazy, win a ring. And I was kind of sad to not see him play in this year's Super Bowl, but at least he went out throwing to his kids, and he's got himself a nice little career lined up afterwards.
Yeah, Drew Brees is lined up with NBC. Can't wait to see him on the sportscast. And we can all agree that Drew Brees is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he had a great career. Now, looking into the NBA, the latest NBA news is Blake Griffin is now a part of the Brooklyn Nets. He came to the team averaging 12 points per game, only shooting 36% from the field and 31% from three. And this isn't the Blake Griffin of Lob City. He hasn't dunked in the game since 2019. Ryan, do you think it was worthwhile for Brooklyn to pick up Blake Griffin?
I think it's more name than the player that he used to be. I think bringing in a guy like him definitely will bring a spark to the New York. I think that giving him a team with players like Kyrie, Harden, and when KD returns, KD, I think that'll help get his numbers back up. He was on a Detroit Pistons team that's kind of floundered over the past few years. So right now the numbers don't look great, and he might not be the Blake Griffin who's jumping over cars and winning dunk competitions anymore, but he's still Blake Griffin. I think he can definitely add a spark to this team who's already looking like a NBA final favorite. So I think it might be worthwhile in the end. We'll see what happens later in the season, but I think he definitely can add something to a team with very little size.
Yeah, with Blake Griffin out of the way, and there's some notable big men still on the market. We have Boogie Cousins, LaMarcus Aldridge, Andre Drummond. Jacob, I know you're a huge Celtics fan. Do any of these big men interest you in the Celtic front court?
Yeah, I would love a shot at Drummond. I say this pessimistically because I'm not confident in Danny making a move now. He kind of seemed more reluctant to make a move now as opposed to wait till free agency. But with the team they have now, they can't compete with Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. So I love Drummond. I think he'd be good. I've heard John Collins in Atlanta. He's not really like a five, but still a big, and he can fly. I don't know why Atlanta would trade him, but I guess I don't know. They want to switch it up and put new guys around Trae Young. So yeah, I would love those guys. Aldridge, I feel like is less likely, but I've heard his name too.
Yeah, I saw the Celtics in a bunch of trade talks. They definitely want to add someone to their front court. And as a Heat fan, I would love to add LaMarcus Aldridge. I know that we were going after him before. We never really got him. And if we could get LA on Miami, I think our team could go deep in the playoffs. Now it's time to talk about the thing we're all excited for, the Diamond. I have two huge baseball fans here. And let's start with you, Ryan Panny. What are your expectations for the defending AL Tampa Bay Rays?
I'd love it if we get back to the World Series, but I think I'm a more realistic fan being a fan from Tampa. I think we'll be a playoff team again. This team's coming reloaded. I know the losses of Blake Snell and Charlie Morton are kind of huge for us, but I like what Glasnow kind of brought last year. And I think giving him a bigger role in this upcoming season, I like to see how he takes it and how he becomes the ace for the Rays. But I think the big thing people are forgetting is the Rays are bringing back their entire starting lineup. They had some players that popped off last year. They'll get Randy Arozarena, the man who literally came out of nowhere in the postseason. They'll get him for a full year. I'd love to see what he does with it. I have faith. I saw him play every game in that postseason, and I think it's going to be really crazy to see a guy go from that to nothing. So I think having him for the whole year, I think Brandon Lau kind of resetting and coming back. I'm thinking we're a playoff team. I think we're a team that I know Boston and New York like to think they run the AL East, but I think the Rays are a team you can't overlook this year, and I'm looking forward to the season.
And as a Mets fan, I am very excited to see how we will take over New York this year. And Jacob, I think that you think the same thing. What are your thoughts on the New York Mets going into the 2021 season?
It's tough because I think the Mets fans are the guiltiest party of being too excited in April. And the Mets kind of give us reason to be excited in April because they start off 10-1, 11-1. But I think this year, this is the best roster the Mets have had in 15 years since the days of Reyes, Wright, Beltran, Delgado. And the lineup is amazing. I mean, the offseason, I think it's all about perspective. They didn't get George Springer. He went to Toronto. They didn't get one-eye Trevor Bauer, which whatever, all his antics and all his apologies. I'm kind of happy he didn't choose the Mets. And it gives them a chance to put their money where the mouth is with Lindor and Conforto and Syndergaard. All guys in Stroman at this point, all guys who deserve the money and should get the money. But I'm excited. I think they compete with Atlanta way more than they did last year. Washington will be tough too. I don't really buy Philly, and that rotation stinks. But Washington with Scherzer, Strasburg, and now they added Lester, getting Josh Bell. Washington will be scary. But I think the Mets, top to bottom, are the best in the NL East. I mean, Atlanta's lineup is better, but I think the rotation, the Mets have the edge. And I think the bullpen, the Mets have the edge too. If all those guys are consistent, like Diaz and Familia, and they get stuff out of Trevor May. So I'm excited. I'm always excited. But this year I have reason to be excited. So
Yeah, definitely, especially with yesterday's spring trading game. Jacob deGrom going out there throwing 94-mile-an-hour sliders, throwing 101 off the bump. It's definitely an exciting time for the Mets. Well, this is definitely an exciting show, and I want to thank both of you guys for hopping on next week. This is StorrsNation, UCTV Sports.